Hello and welcome. On this week's episode, there is a slew of announcements on Marvel's Disney Plus Day, and we're going to run down nearly all of them, applying special attention to Hawkeye and some of the series that will be coming out sooner rather than later. Additionally, we look at the new trailer for the Cowboy Bebop series debuting on Netflix on November 19th. In our larger news, we'll be looking at Shang-Chi, which just debuted on Disney Plus. Most of you saw it back in September, but I wasn't going to theaters then, and I'm happy to see it now. And our big movie of the day is, of course, Eternals. And by big, I mean nearly as long as Endgame and maybe not quite as satisfying. So join us on... What are you, a cartoon frog? That's a WB reference for some people who might not be old. Like me.
Hello, my baby. I am so racist.
I don't know. I just assumed you were going to go forward with the song. But that was way fucking funnier. Holy shit. That got me off guard. That got me really off guard. That's really funny.
Oh, yeah, man. That's Al Jolson as a frog.
Oh, my God. Can I say my grandfather loved Al Jolson? Like, he would sing all these old Al Jolson.
I imagine he did.
No. But he was super not racist. I mean, he was a cop, and in a very racist time to be a cop. But specifically, though, he was a very, very not racist cop. So kudos to him. I got some good stories, but that's neither here nor there. How are you doing, sir?
I'm all right, man. How you doing?
I'm good. It's been about a week since we spoke. I got the debut episode of our, resurgence now following pumpkin season and surgery season and all that other stuff. And I have spent like this entire week watching fucking everything.
Yeah, we had a lot of homework. That's basically what I was doing too, trying to catch up on things. I've oddly enough have been like on a really crazy Harry Potter binge because I've been talking to my girlfriend from Canada and reading Harry Potter to her.
So what do you like read her Harry Potter?
Yeah, I read it out loud to her. I have to use these voiceover gifts for the good, the good of all humanity.
I swear, you guys like on the phone and she just props the phone up and listens to you read her Harry Potter?
Yeah, crazy, right?
Oh, that's fucking adorable. Oh,
I
my
know.
God.
She's
my
the best.
Are rotting out of my head. That is so sweet.
Yeah, then after that, we watched Pin 15 and Arrested Development. I'm in heaven, bro.
While you were busy watching Arrested Development, you weren't doing some of the homework I gave you, but we're going to save that for next week's episode so you got time to watch it. Arrested Development is fine, but it is not on the assignment list. We had a lot on the assignment list. You have failed me.
Sir.
I know. Just so everybody knows, next week we're going to be talking the new series Chucky on Sci-Fi and USA. It's good fun. Arthur's got to see some of it because I'm not going to spoil it. It's just batshit, and if you love the series, it's coming. Go watch it. We'll talk about it next week.
Oh yeah, we're horror fans.
Oh man, so much. It's so good. It's so true. No. I'm not getting off on the tangent. This week is Disney Marvel week because they had Disney Plus Day.
Tangent is what we do best, bro.
I know. But anybody who's familiar with the podcast knows it's my job to keep our asses on track. It's my job to keep us on track.
Yeah.
I'm trying because Disney Plus, had its 2-year anniversary. And they are now a streaming Goliath in that short amount of time. And so, of course, on the 2-year anniversary, they had to just drop fucking everything. Absolutely everything. I mean, the big one for me was Shang-Chi because I didn't get to see it in the theater. We're going to deep dive into Shang-Chi later because it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, they right now, Shang-Chi and Jungle Cruise is available for streaming now.
Yeah. I haven't seen Jungle Cruise. I'm not, it's not on my radar necessarily, but you got a kid. And so maybe I don't know if it's kids. Like I said, I literally know nothing about it.
Yeah, I took her to see it in theater. I actually saw it in 4DX and it was fantastic in 4DX.
Now I know 3D, but what the hell is 4D?
Oh, 4DX, man. Oh my God. Like I imagine that they have one around where you live in New York somewhere. So basically you're in this theater where the seats move and everything is choreographed to the movie.
Oh shit, I've heard about this.
Yeah, it rains on you, and like there's smell-o-vision, and
Awesome.
yeah, for real. Like there's hydraulics in the seat, so when there's like a fight scene, you feel the punches in your back, and like wind blows in your face if a bullet passes by someone's face. It's crazy.
That's killer. That's wild. So it's more like a ride than a movie.
Yeah, for the whole movie. Yeah.
So Jungle Cruise, I'm sure, was like, jungle sounds and mist and kicking back and forth, the rocking in the boat kind of thing.
Oh, all of that. And like water splashing on you. Like water actually splashes on you. It rains on you.
Oh, no, Rachel would fucking hate that.
You could take
She would not be
There's
down.
a button that lets you take the water off.
Oh, thank goodness. See, that's smart. Now they've thought that through, because if you went and you weren't prepared, like, oh, this is going to be great, it's like a ride, and then suddenly like you're like, yo, this is a nice outfit. I didn't come here to get rained on. I could go outside for that.
So along with all of the new announcements, it's like 10 things that they announced. So like just going through the list here, they have Echo, which is a character that will be introduced in the new Hawkeye series that's coming out pretty soon in December. They got Ironheart. She's actually going to be appearing in Wakanda Forever as well, which I think is a really good idea, because originally that character is supposed to be ingenue of Iron Man. Since Iron Man's not around anymore, it makes so much more sense that she'd be working with Chala's sister or what have you. And we have Agatha House of Harkness.
Yeah, that was one of the big announcements.
Yeah, we basically saw that they were going to have a spinoff, but at the end of WandaVision for that one. Mm-hmm. Then I don't know if you saw that picture of Samuel Jackson from Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
Did you see that picture?
Oh yeah.
There's this great picture of Nick Fury, who apparently doesn't like eye patches anymore.
Yeah, you can see the big scar and the blue eye and everything. It's good fun. It's a
really
good photo.
Cool. Oh yeah. And so we have Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, but we've known about that for like 2 years.
Yeah, it's been on the slate for a little while. But what exactly it's going to be other than canonical is to be determined, really.
Well, I mean, what I hope is that they make it look every bit as bad as the Star Wars one did. That's the only thing that makes sense, is if it like they make.
I don't know if I'm down with that, because the Star Wars Holiday Special was bad. Like, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but we're so used to everything looking good. To do it like the special, you got to use like old school puppets and stuff. Like,
well, then it's a spoof. Then it's kind of a spoof, isn't it? Is that you're hoping for a spoof of the Star Wars?
That's exactly what it is.
All right, I would watch that. Yeah, I would watch that. Sure. What am I saying? I'm going to watch all this shit no matter what.
I mean, I would want it to be different from the movie, because the movie's going to. Yeah, we were used to all the bells and whistles. So something like this, like and when it comes to James Gunn's, like, the things that he likes to do, that seems like it'd be way up his alley to make this like so DIY.
Weird. Yeah. Okay, I'm with it. Make it weird and low budget looking, and make it a spoof on the Star Wars Holiday Special. I'll follow you there.
God,
why
that'd
not?
Be so good. And then, dude, like the thing I'm most excited about is X-Men '97. I can't wait to see what it looks like. I mean, if they just made it look exactly like the cartoon series, as if like they never got canceled and stuff, that'd be so dope.
Well, that's precisely the intent behind it. So what they've announced is that they will not be changing the character designs. They will be recasting most of the original voice actors in a return role, everybody who's available, and that they are going to pick up in 1997 where the series left off. So it seems like it's going to be everything you want it to be.
Oh my God, that's so freaking cool, man. What a great idea.
Well, see, I'm a little bit older than you, and I forget sometimes. You're closer to my brother's age, and that television series in 1992 was the entry point for a lot of people into this universe. I'm not sure if you include yourself in that, but I know it definitely was.
Oh, I mean, I was in the X-Men right before the cartoon came out, because Jim Lee was doing the comics.
Mm-hmm.
I was always in the comics and stuff early on.
That would have been 91.
Yeah. So, of course, like when the cartoon came out, it just completely super jacked me like into that world. You know what I'm saying? Especially when they started making the comics that mirrored the cartoon series.
Oh, X-Men Adventures. I've got a few old X-Men
Yeah,
Adventures. They
yeah,
it wasn't a
yeah,
very popular series at all, but it was
yeah.
good fun, and they definitely mirrored all of the different episodes.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Those episodes also led to my brother buying dozens upon, if not hundreds, of X-Men action figures. Because man, could
Mm-hmm.
that show move some action figures.
Oh heck yeah, man! Like they had so many crossover events in that series. It was so man. That was a golden time for, like, after school animation and Saturday morning animation. Um. So then after that, we got Spider-Man freshman year
That's going to be interesting. Yeah.
because they're basically saying, this is going to be kind of like a parting gift, basically to Tom Holland. Because this is his last Marvel movie, from what I'm seeing. Have you seen the
Huh.
news now about that?
Not exactly, but I take that with a grain of salt. There's always money.
Okay, I think that was. We've had this conversation before, but I'm pretty sure this is what's happening because Tom Holland's about to cross over into Sony for good at this point.
I'm not sold. I'm not sold that that's what's happening.
Okay,
Nope.
okay, that's what they're saying. All right. So we have I Am Groot, which got that was already talked about already, animated series of him being a little baby.
Yep. Everybody loves Baby Groot.
And then Marvel Zombies.
Yeah, Marvel Zombies, it's being produced by one of the producers of What If, which also What If Season 2 got announced, but we knew that was going to come. But yeah,
Yeah.
Marvel Zombies, what's interesting is like, I'm not as in love with the Marvel Zombie verse as a lot of fans. Like, I think the zombie craze has had its day. And specifically, I mean, it's kind of low hanging fruit to have Robert Kirkman write it. I mean, yes, it was
Mhm.
good. It was good. And Robert Kirkman is good, but a little bit right on the freaking head,
Yeah.
it's a little bit much. So I think that while I find the Marvel zombie verse and their inclusion in What If was cool and was interesting, I don't know that I need an entire series about it. It feels like, oh, there's Captain America zombie. Ooh, Wolverine zombie. Like that novelty of it is basically all I'm in it for. And you could definitely tell some interesting stories in that universe, but I don't know if I care enough about that concept for a whole series.
Yeah. Well, what did you think about the new series? You saw the new teasers, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I saw the new teasers. Yep. I thought the Moon Knight teaser looked awesome. I am so in it. It looks great. He looks insane, and I love the way they're shooting it. Like some of the shots in that teaser felt a little Sam Raimi with the point of view face cams,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Moon Knight. It's Marvel's Batman, but he's like legit, actively, visibly crazy, as opposed to Batman, who is absolutely insane but does his best to hide it. Like this is a guy who it's going to be difficult to tread that mental illness ground because you don't want to caricaturize somebody's illness. That you've got to be really, really, really careful with. But I'm still excited to see it, and I hope that they tread that ground well.
Yeah, I thought King Atreides did really good in this trailer. He looked amazing. I really liked his accent, and he's been getting accustomed to playing a lot of mentor type roles over the past 5 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And so like this really seems like something he can really sink his teeth into. So I'm really liking the way he's looking in this. What about the other ones?
Oh, well, I mean, She-Hulk, we finally got our first good look at Jennifer Walters and the She-Hulk universe, although we don't get a perfect look at her as She-Hulk. It's just a teaser, but I thought that looked really good. You got Mark Ruffalo back as Bruce Banner, and I
Mm-hmm.
really like the concept of She-Hulk as a character, somebody who
Mm-hmm.
really embraces the physicality and the powers and doesn't mind so much, the side effect of being giant and green. She's always been the giant, green, fabulous She-Hulk. And I think a character that, doesn't have that internal strife with turning into a monster is actually kind of fun. I mean, she has literally been transformed into a monster, and she's like, hey, the only thing that matters is I'm powerful and I'm huge and I can help people and get things done. Yeah, I look green and weird now, but I'm good with it. And I think that's a fun angle.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how they integrate all of like kind of the courtroom drama stuff. I think it's gonna be hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with all of the different like cameos that you can have in a show like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, because you got the lawyer side, so you could have Daredevil show up at any time. They've already said Tim Roth's Abomination is showing up. Mark Ruffalo will be
Mm-hmm.
around. There's a lot of fun that you can do in that world. You can tease a ton of Fantastic Four stuff because she was on the Fantastic Four forever.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much fun stuff you can do with She-Hulk, and I like the concept because I don't know what it's going to be, but I know it won't be dour. So often they try to create emotional resonance in things, and sometimes I just want fun, and She-Hulk is fun in the Marvel universe, and I hope that this brings a lot of levity.
I think Marvel knows like that kind of come up and come down thing, like when
Yeah.
it comes down to having the like super serious messagey stuff versus like super uh like just fun and loud.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was a pretty good balance of that with the series that they have this year. So yeah, even within the episode, like within the What If episodes, there was like super dark ones, then ones that are
Mm-hmm.
just completely hilarious. I think
Yeah.
they get it.
Yeah, I think something like Falcon and the Winter Soldier definitely skewed more serious. I'd like it to be less serious than that. Something right around like the tone that Loki had, but maybe
Yes.
even just a little bit less serious than that even. I want it to be a
Yeah.
little bit slapsticky and a little bit fun.
Kind of raised my eyebrows a little bit at the Miss Marvel series because I think I heard that they changed their powers.
No, they can't do that. Can they? Can they do that? I mean, of course they can do that,
I think
but
they changed their powers. I don't think she has the stretchy powers for the series.
well, all right. So I could see stretchy powers being a little bit more expensive to animate and to do on a series, but if that seems like a pretty harsh fundamental change.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that. I mean, mm,
Because I mean, and you seen that in the trailers, she looks like she has just powers that are similar to Carol's.
right. And she's dressing up like Carol, and obviously they're
Yeah.
pushing the whole, idolization of Carol Danvers thing. But I don't think we get a real good overview of her powers from the trailer. So I think that there's definitely stuff. I think they could do it additively. So if you wanted to give her stretchy powers plus some basic energy projection powers, that I would be more or less fine with that. But to eliminate the stretchy power business altogether feels very fundamental to her character. I mean, Embiggen is her, like war
Yeah.
slogan. So I don't know that you can make that huge a change, but I could see them integrating other powers in so that they don't have to do stretchy powers as much and save a little money.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the news right now, and it's looking like that's the direction that they are going. That she's like not going to have her stretching powers. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, that's another grain of salt moment for me because it feels like a fundamentally flawed decision. I don't know how you sit in a writer's room and get that from one end of the table to the other. I'm not sure. Just eliminating her fundamental power.
Probably a couple of reasons. First, it was a TV show. Then they probably want Mr. Fantastic to debut whatever stretching powers they're gonna do.
I could see that from a special effects standpoint, that the special effects
Yeah.
team would want to debut that effect in the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
I could see that. Yeah, all right.
And what's funny though is like it's not exactly the same. Their powers aren't exactly the same. She just gets larger. It's not like she's super stretchy like Mr. Fantastic.
Right, not to the degree.
But it would be a goofy power to do and to make it look good all the time,
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody has struggled with that. I mean, look at the Fantastic Four movies. They had all the money in the world and it still looks weird. But they're 13 years old.
They didn't
by
have
this
the
point.
best people. They didn't have the best people working on those things. Like they had Tim Story, and Tim Story, he's good at other things, but I mean, honestly, I liked Rise of the Silver Surfer in a lot of parts.
I do too. I actually really do.
I feel like he handled the effects a lot better in the second one versus kind of the silly things that he did on the first one. But just imagine if you had like James Cameron or somebody that really, really is cutting edge and innovative with effects. Because even back then they could have made a movie that would have held up to today. If you just really are into that world of special effects and stuff.
True, and even the special effects on Fan 4 Stick were still a little bit goofy at times.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you had a bunch of studio execs making decisions at that point.
So yeah, all this, I guess, is a long way of saying, I hope Miss Marvel at some point gets to show her base comic book abilities, but I'm not super familiar with the character. She came a little bit after my time for comic books, so I'm not hugely emotionally invested in what she can or can't do.
I mean, she's really fun. There's a book called Champions. Mm-hmm. That's like where she's hooked up with like a lot of the like latest young heroes. So she'd be hanging out with Nova, the latest version of Nova, Miles Morales, the young version of Cyclops.
Oh yeah,
those are pretty fun. And I think it was either Umberto Ramos or Bacalo that was drawing that. It might have been Umberto. And it had all those impulse vibes.
Well, I'll have to check it out then. I'm anxious to learn a little bit more about the character, and I have digital comic subscriptions, so I can go read up a little bit before the series comes out. And from the look of it, I got time. But yeah, she'll do this. It was
cool. I mean, it's not like there's a lot of Pakistani like heroes.
That's true.
So that's true. So I think she's always been dope, honestly.
And that is a huge part of, what they're doing at Marvel right now. And we'll get into that deeper in Shang-Chi and Eternals, which both lean really heavily into the inclusivity model, which is fun.
Oh, heck yeah.
Tell me different stories. I love that a huge portion of this slate is, female fronted individual projects like She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, Echo, Ironheart, Agatha, House of Harkness, like the big ones. Yeah. They're all women fronted. And that's great because we got 18 movies of just basically dudes running around doing things. So anything you can do to just make it different. I just don't want to see the same thing I've always seen. So these are all different things, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, it's dope.
One of the big portions of Marvel and Disney's upcoming slate is, of course, Hawkeye, which is releasing on November 24th with the first 2 episodes.
Hawkeye. And then
they're going to feed them out week by week, which we hate. Because we love to binge, but they want you talking about it. They want to make it an event.
Yeah, dude, I love that they do that, man. It just makes more sense, like when you roll a show out like this, it becomes something that everybody gets to talk about throughout the week. Versus this weird thing where you binge stuff and because your level of excitement on something, you saw all the episodes, then you talk to a friend, they only seen like 1 or 2. Like
but I'm greedy.
There's this disconnect that happens with binging. Yeah, I'm greedy too.
I want to binge it, and I know about the disconnect. I know. And look, same thing happened with me with what we do in the shadows, where like I watched the first 7 episodes at once, and they all kind of blend in my head, and the individualism in each segment of that story is somewhat lost. And also, I was hyped about it for like a weekend, and then I was through it and I'm on to the next thing. So I totally get it.
There's also the delayed gratification of it. Like, like you have something to look forward to. I love that. Especially we're a product of before streaming.
Yeah.
When we were like, we appreciated stuff,
When it was an event, when you had 13 channels, and if something was on, everybody watched it. A mini series would come out on NBC and everybody watched it at 8:00 on Friday. Everybody.
Yeah, you had to hurry home.
Yeah. It's going to be on.
You had to run to the room
and if you missed
after
it,
the commercial
you
break.
missed it. Join us on Tales to Admonish for more tales of being fucking old. Because that's what this sounds like nowadays. Any listener under the age of 30 running home to catch a show that was TV happened from 6 to 9 o'clock, and that's when TV happened. And Saturday morning at 8 a.m. that's when you watch television. That was it. all this fucking having whatever you want whenever you want it shit. But so I want all of Hawkeye at once, but I ain't gonna get that. What we're gonna get is we're gonna get 6 episodes, and it's gonna take us right up to Christmas because it's a Christmas story, which is awesome. This thing feels so Disney Christmas movie. It's crazy. Like just the way that trailer with the music in the background and the whole way it's shot. Like,
I love that.
It feels like your classic, almost Chris Columbus flavored holiday adventure.
But it's just like, I feel like they would have been a winner if they got Shane Black to like really head up.
I just meant the wistfulness.
It's like the perfect character for him.
All right, fair. But we get Jeremy Renner back as Clint Barton. We get Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop, who is Clint's basically his Robin to his Batman. And they're going to run off on misadventures together where he basically indoctrinates her into the superhero life. And another Avenger is bringing another child soldier into the war. So that's nice of him.
I mean, you're basically seeing the creation of all the Young Avengers. They've been laying it out through all of these things. Marvel's they're so brilliant.
Yeah, they've introduced just in little breadcrumbs all of these characters, but here now, I mean, she is pivotal to the show. She is the show in a big way. And you have this passing of the torch, which is going to be a lot more overt in this series than any of the other sort of Young Avengers tie-ins have been up to this point.
Yeah, I mean, you see how I could just see the signs of how they're building up everything. Because like eventually the biggest like thing is going to be, of course, Kang and and Fantastic Four and all of them, but like also the Secret Invasion, and basically it would make more sense that the Skrulls wouldn't be trying to pretend to be one of the Young Avengers. So you definitely could see the Young Avengers being like one of the strongholds in that fight.
Right, one of the few teams you can wholly trust.
Yeah, because they're also, they're setting up Dark Avengers too. So that's going to be a really good threat against the Young Avengers that have to fight all these adult superheroes. I mean, you can really see the direction that they're going. And I think it's so cool.
Yeah, but this series, even before we get to all the Young Avengers stuff, like both these characters seem to have great chemistry together. And Jeremy Renner is finally getting, he never got his own movie, but now he's going to get way more time in this series than you'd ever get in a movie. And now we really know and understand his character. I think it's the perfect time for a Hawkeye themed bit. So I'm super stoked to see it. We're going to catch the first 2 episodes. Rachel and I will, of course, be following week by week because it just looks delightful. And it looks like the perfect holiday season Marvel property to roll out. So it looks like great fun. I'm here for it.
Yeah. Grace on Beyond the Trailer on YouTube. You got to listen to her if you get a chance. She's from New York too. She's like,
right
fantastic. But she was just talking about how close the Hawkeye, because she saw 2 episodes of it early. So she was just talking about how close it is to the Netflix Marvel shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, the feel and vibe and pacing of those shows. So I'm excited to see it. Hopefully it's not that low budget, but
it's not going to be low budget. It's not going to be low budget, and I think it makes perfect sense for it to mimic that tone because their power set is so similar. I mean, you have Thor, and then you have the best archer. You know what I mean? Like this disparity in those powers. Like I get it. You are the best archer ever, maybe that's ever lived. But this is the literal god of thunder. He's going to be 5,000 years in this universe. You are the best archer. So you're going to need a more gritty, down to earth, street level, hand to hand kind of tone. And that was definitely Daredevil and Luke Cage and Jessica Jones. And I'm sure the Kung Fu will be better than what we saw in Iron Fist. Did you hear recently the fight choreographer for Iron Fist? I guess it's been long enough now that series has been over. Came out and threw Finn Jones completely under the bus and was like, he didn't start training till like 4 weeks before the series started. And we were teaching him the choreography between shots and all the stuff that we knew, but that they had never actually fessed up to.
Wow.
But that was the reason that he literally put almost no effort at all into learning the choreography.
Man, I mean, I remember all those stories, and I remember. I don't remember it being Finn's fault. I remember it being the showrunner's fault because the showrunner didn't allow a lot of time for all that stuff to happen. I wouldn't put that on Finn.
Well, they were saying that he put no effort into learning the choreography. That's what the fight coordinator recently said. So maybe he just exacerbated a worse situation where he wasn't given very much time to do it. And so rather than respond to that by being extra diligent, he responded to it with some degree of apathy, which is what the fight choreographer seems to be implying.
Okay. Yeah, I just remember it, like, if we're talking about the first season, like, it was a
mess. It was a total mess.
Because of that showrunner. Honestly, it was like a lot of the decisions of that showrunner. And then, like, I mean, typically in a lot of like westernized stuff, they always think about like fight choreography as the last minute thing, and then they only allot so much time for it. So that's why it winds up being janky. Like a lot of times, if you don't have somebody that has like a real level of discernment.
That
honestly.
And the series spent as much time in a corporate boardroom as it did doing kung fu in a show that was about
Danny,
the master of kung fu.
What's wrong with you, Danny? Hey, Danny.
God, it's just
that guy was so good the second season. And he was so good in that Jason Bateman show. The one where he launders money.
Arrested Development.
Yeah, that too. No, the show where his family launders money for the drug cartel.
I don't remember that show at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my God, you got to watch that. Oh,
you can't even tell me what it is. What do you mean watch it? Now I got to go IMDb Jason Bateman and then look for projects that look like they have a sort of criminal. No, I'm not doing the fucking legwork here. You want me to watch that show? Tell me what that fucking show is. God damn.
I'm doing it.
And I got no time for other shows because we got Hawkeye to watch, and then coming out before Hawkeye, releasing in bingeable 10 episodes at once is Netflix's Cowboy Bebop. Ozark is the name of the show. All right.
Yeah, Ozark.
I will try to get to it amongst all my other homework. But what I'm talking about now is Cowboy Bebop. And the most recent trailer dropped just in advance of the series releasing on November 19th. And I thought it was so much fucking fun. And you thought it was ham-fisted and overwrought? Spoilers for the audience. We've talked about this a little bit in advance.
I like the recent trailer, jackass.
All right. No, I was wrong then. Okay, cool. So Cowboy Bebop, are you excited for the series? Yeah. Something.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't originally watch the anime series because I was in college at the time, and like it wasn't Devo, not Devo. What is
TiVo?
What's that? TiVo.
No, we definitely had Devo before we had TiVo.
No, there was no TiVo then, so you actually had to be up at
and it
like
was
11.
Up. Yeah, it was late. It was really late.
So I missed so much stuff like in the early 2000s because of that, because I was in college, and I never quite got back to it. But I remember the visual iconography of the show. Like, I mean, it always looked cool. And you always saw that it was on sale, like on DVD and all of that stuff. So, then I'm just familiar with the anime aesthetic period. So, I didn't care for the first couple of trailers because I felt like they were just, you're correct in your assumption about the ham fisting, as far as like, the aesthetic being so heavily placed on there. I mean, I know what they were meaning to do. But you have to do that sort of thing correct. Like you brought up like Scott Pilgrim, and Scott Pilgrim did it correct.
Yeah.
Like they did it with panache.
And then you brought up Ang Lee's Hulk, where they did not do it correctly.
Ang Lee?
Ang Lee, sorry. You brought up Ang Lee's Hulk, where they did not do it correctly.
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah. Like he went overboard. Like, look, I'm going to make a literal translation of comics and movies. It was just like.
It's a lot of watching multi-frames. It's weird. It's true.
Yeah, bro.
But I felt like this. Down. Okay, but so here's the thing. I really enjoyed that it was over the top and ham-fisted. I feel like sometimes art has to push the bounds of shit. And I especially like it if you push the bounds and show me a thing that I haven't seen in a way I haven't seen. And also the previous trailer with them sliding the bars around and shifting frames and all that stuff, super reminiscent of the intro to the show. You know, the intro to that show feels very, it's funny, that feels like the Venture Brothers. You know, that the intros are basically the same.
Yeah, but like, so here's a key difference though. Here's a key difference. Like with the Ventures Brothers, especially it being animation, there was a rapid pacing to it that made it work. In this trailer that they did, the pacing and the kinetic feel of it was off. You know,
I didn't think so. I thought it was on. I thought it was.
That's how it felt to me. And it's not the worst trailer.
No,
I love
sure.
the latest trailer better because it just, you get a good sense of the show. It looks great. You know, people have their problems with John Cho, but I mean, I think he looks fine. My friend Mustafa plays, what's that character's name?
Jet Black.
Jet Black, yeah. And so I'm super happy for him. And yeah, the other girl she looks great too.
Daniela Pineda as Faye Valentine, which is like the third part of their trio.
Fantastic. And everyone says the dog is the only thing that's perfect in that trailer.
Well, that dog was such a big part of it. He was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, I'm here for anything John Cho does. I think John Cho is fantastic. A lot of people criticize his casting because he is older, but they've skewed the whole cast older. And I thought it was over the top and crazy in just the kind of way that I want to see something reach for. I think sometimes you got to go big, really big. And then when you think that you've gone as big as you go even fucking bigger. And yeah, when you do that, you're going to fall into a few messes, but what you've created at the end is worth that trouble. And I think it's worth whatever problematic stuff might come out of that sort of, haphazard and chaotic visual appeal. But I know that it's going to be visually like nothing I've seen in a long time. And so if there are pitfalls to that, I accept them, and I'm still excited for it. I just want to see somebody reach and go big.
Yeah, I mean, dude is agreed. Yeah, I think it's not like it's the worst thing in the world. I just think in the right hands, that trailer really could have popped. I guess in for my taste,
no doubt.
But like the recently trailer looks great. Like I love how it looks. I can't wait to watch it.
So I'm going to jump right in and probably binge that whole thing right around November 19th. So that hits Netflix. And if you remember Cowboy Bebop, I, back in my early 20s, lived with a real anime head. So I caught a lot of that stuff, and I thought Cowboy Bebop was fun. So when I saw the trailer and I was like, oh my God, that's the intro to the show. And it did it for me. So I'm excited to see it on November 19th. And John Cho is amazing. Mustafa Shakir looks great. Daniela Pineda is great.
Oh, yeah.
And the martial arts looks legit. Totally looks legit. And if we're talking legit martial arts, then we finally got some in the Marvel Universe with Shang-Chi. I'm ready to dive in to the meat and potatoes with Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which came out on September 3rd in theaters, but then just released this Friday on Disney Plus, and that's where I caught it. And oh man, it's so good.
It was great, man. I was really surprised. I of course saw it in theaters when it came out a couple months ago. I remember not really liking the trailer because I feel like Marvel has a propensity of like repeating their action set pieces. Like they'll usually have like a train set piece or some car chase. Like, I mean, which action movie doesn't?
Right.
But with Marvel coming out with so many action properties, like you start to see the same signature sometimes, right?
Right.
So, and then we're going into full spoilers, guys. So
yeah. We are going to spoil this. Just spoilers. Anytime you hear us mention anything from this point forward to the end of the show, we're spoiling it. So you've been warned.
We have to say it every episode, though.
That's true.
Just like Stan Lee says, every comic book is someone's first comic book. Excelsior.
True believer.
Yeah, but that being said, like once you actually watch the scene play out, it's fantastic because it's just a testament to actual great like pacing for action beats and fight choreography and all of that stuff. All of that stuff makes it like, like any kind of standard, train set piece, like, subway set piece. Like, I mean, it makes me think about Captain Marvel, like how lackluster that action scene was.
Yeah, you're right that the train sequence or the bus sequence in Captain Marvel is not as good as the bus sequence in Shang-Chi at all.
Yeah. There was so many levels to that thing, and then so much comedy. Like the guy that has his podcast going.
Oh yeah. And he's from Spider-Man Far From Home. He's the do a backflip Spider-Man guy.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, he's freaking great. And Awkwafina like carries so much of the comedic load of this movie. And
man.
I'm so happy she's in everything now because I want to see her in everything. Her facial expressions and her comedic timing is perfect for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
She's absolutely delightful.
I think it's cool that they kind of did like this platonic friendship, but it felt weird. It felt weird that it didn't get romantic.
No, I'm excited for, because you know what? I'm so tired of I don't need a romantic subplot and everything where if there's a male character and a female character, of course they're going to be together. Like maybe Shang-Chi is gay. Maybe Katie is gay. Maybe they're both straight. Like I want to watch them fight Chinese monsters from another dimension. I don't really care about their sex lives at all. Like we can watch 90 minutes of their lives without knowing who they have sex with. So I was 100% totally great with that.
That being said, it was a little truncated, bro. Like they had to find stuff for her to do. And then like Wong at the end, for some reason, needs her to come.
No, she's she's us. She's the audience going on the adventure as well with no powers.
But there needs to be a reason why she's there. Why is Wong bringing her too?
Dude, that's literally the last 2 seconds of the movie. There's going to be an explanation about why she's got to come too. I swear to God, you watch that movie. Here's the highest praise I can give for that movie. That movie was 2 hours and 12 minutes. Okay. And I'm not a fan of that shit at all. I think movies should be between 90 minutes and 120 minutes. And that is fucking it. So 2 hours and 12 minutes, but it is a 2 hour and 12 minute movie. I am ready to watch again. So if I can give any higher praise than that, I don't know what it is. But my point is this. At the 2 hour and 10 minute mark, that's when you define her goddamn. Why does she have to go with Wong? There's 2 minutes left in the movie. They're setting up some other shit they haven't told you yet. They just haven't told you yet. Why don't you worry about what happened in the movie, not what's going to happen next? I swear to God, you can never live in the moment with this shit. You're always like, how does this connect? I don't know how this connects. She has no powers. Like, fucking watch the movie. It was that same shit when we talked about Venom too.
That's the least of my problems with this.
Nope. When we talked about Venom in the previous episode, and you were all like, "How does he connect to Spider-Man?" And you're like, "They gave you 3 seconds of it. God damn it, live in the moment." So no, I don't care how she can help save the universe with no superpowers. She is the wide-eyed moppet drawn into a magical world, and we follow her there. And so she says quippy, fun, observational things about all the craziness that's happening around. And not to mention, she darn near killed that final evil monster herself with an arrow to the throat after only a day of training, she might add.
Listen to yourself.
Why doesn't she get to go with Wong? She nearly slayed a mythical monster. That's why she gets to go with Wong. There, Sony.
Yeah, one day of
Marvel,
training.
I wrote it. There. In this week's every week, I'm going to write something for you. That's right. It was magical training. I don't know. Whatever. I want to see her shoot the monster.
Look. That aside, I'm glad that Awkwafina was in the movie because
of course.
Simu Liu, he's not that experienced of being a lead man and stuff like this, and often there's a lot of times he came across flat.
Oh, he mugs so well though. God damn, he's so good looking and he mugs for the camera so well. It's great.
Yeah, I felt like he got better by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But like it was great that he was surrounded by Tony Leung and like Michelle and Aquafina. It's just like, and even the woman that played his sister, like there was such an anchor of great performances that it just was a huge support for him. And I love the face off with his dad at the end because he was just there and he was present and it was good by the end of it.
Oh yeah. Menger Zhang.
Yeah.
Menger Zhang is his sister Xialing.
Mm-hmm.
And she was great
fantastic.
too. What an unexpected part of the story where you think the movie is called Shang-Chi and then you get this sister of his who bears every bit as much responsibility to the storyline as he does.
Oh yeah. So let me talk about the highs for me or sort of the movie. Like, so when it comes down to this, like this is the closest we've gotten to Jackie Chan action for like 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie Chan, he's an older guy. He's actually done a few dramas over the past 8 years. But that really awesome fight choreography mixed with like just comedy that was a major part of the 90s and going into the 2000s and stuff before everything became high concept. And it was just really cool for all of that to come back.
Oh, yeah. That fight on the bus was so reminiscent of Jackie Chan.
Oh, definitely.
With dodging through the holes in the seats and then getting him to cut the bus open, then running along the top of the bus only to swing around to the front and bang on the window, let me in. Like that was all so Jackie Chan.
Yeah, there was homages everywhere.
Oh,
there was
yeah.
homage to Skyfall with that fight with the helicopter going like panning by the window as they were having that fight right there. There was a homage to Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon in multiple areas.
Him fighting shirtless against his sister was a definite homage back to his original look in the comic book, which of course was an homage to Bruce Lee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so all of that stuff was great. Like just like the relationships, freaking Sir Kingsley, Ben
Kingsley as Trevor Slattery.
Oh my God, what a fantastic surprise! Because when I saw the movie, I wasn't expecting him.
Not at all.
Yeah, they didn't. I didn't really. Like, apparently, people did see that he was in the movie, but I didn't. So that was such a great surprise for me. Oh my God! Like his delivery for everything. That's a weird horse.
He is so deadpan and so like if you were writing this movie and you're listing out, we should use this character, we should use that, and like we should bring Trevor Slattery back. And like, wait, what? And he's perfect with his friend Morris, with the little creature, and all of those creatures apparently are based on mythical creatures of ancient Chinese lore. And,
definitely.
And the fact that he can understand him, and Morris is the one that leads them back to the mythical Chinese city. Amazing his comedic timing in it as well. He is so legitimately funny.
Yeah, that moment where he's just like, you see him too? It's like,
I could have sworn it was a hallucination.
Cracking up this whole time.
Yeah, when I saw him on the cast list, I figured that they would have the Mandarin kill him or something on screen. Well, the real leader of the Ten Rings would kill Trevor Slattery for impersonating him, that he would have like 5 minutes in it where now we get to see the brutality of it. But to see that he's actually in the movie with a real role and he's fucking delightful. So good.
Oh yeah, man. I love that one conversation that Tony Leung has when they're basically talking about appropriation and how like ridiculous it could be.
Mm-hmm.
With these people that took out on the moniker of the Ten Rings by calling it the Mandarin. Like you guys are afraid of orange.
That's right. He goes, they took our name and then named him after an orange. They never know what to do with anything. It's great.
Yeah.
No, the comedic timing in this movie was fantastic. And I like that it didn't super tie into a lot of everything else. There was a lot of Easter eggs. And of course, referring to the blip and connecting it to the larger universe, but that it wasn't super, super beholden to it. And that we got there are still these little pockets of activity happening beyond the awareness of groups like the Avengers or anyone like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that being said, the only real criticism I have about this movie, besides Aquafina kind of being a quasi Mary Sue, is that um so the thing about Shang-Chi in this movie is that he has a lot of parallels to Bruce Wayne, you know, like as far as how he was raised.
If Thomas Wayne had lived.
Yeah, but the life, the kind of like traumatic thing that this would do to a kid to like learn all this stuff, like witness all this murder, witness his mom's gruesome murder and not being powerless to do anything about it, and then going on a murder mission like at 14. Like when we meet Shang-Chi in the future, that Shang-Chi doesn't match up at all with what his past was. So it's like Marvel's trying to like have their cake and eat it too, with, you know, trying to have this light, you know, adventure thing. When this character obviously has like a lot of dark shadows in his past that like you just don't see at all in the adult version of Shang-Chi. And
see, that scans
I feel
for
like
me. I don't have a problem with that. I thought that was totally fine.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to like character development and stuff, like it just doesn't shake out because, you know, when you have like for instance, basically this character's been living a whole lie with his life in America, and you know, to his friend Aquafina is supposed to be his really close friend to him, you know? So that moment where there's a change, there's not much of a change other than, yeah, I had this whole other life. You mean all the stuff that happened to you? Yeah. It's like, what, didn't it mean anything to you? No, I guess not.
No,
You
no.
know?
All right.
It's just like,
so I'll tell you why I disagree.
There's no pathos.
No,
right there.
no, and I'll tell you why I disagree. Because I think there is something to be said for not underestimating a human being's ability to process trauma and to try to reach a state of normalcy in their mind and in their life. So people who have experienced trauma in their life, and we've all experienced some degree of trauma here and there, you have the choice of either letting it define you or acting in opposition of that trauma and seeking out joy. So when you have a character like Shang-Chi, who at 14 has that cathartic moment of killing his mother's murderer, he does say that he accomplished his mission and then made the conscious decision to be normal. And we don't see him for 10 years later. He's got almost his entire life over again to process all of the things that have happened to him and that he's done and that he knows and understands about the world. And so I think that just because you were a child assassin at 14 doesn't mean that you can't sing karaoke at 24. I just...
Listen to yourself.
Yes. Because the alternative to that is that you are literally just a guy sitting in a room sharpening ninja weapons for the rest of your life. Like, he is actively working. He is actively working to process the trauma of his past and to be a normal person. And that you cannot just be so traumatized by something that it defines you forever. There were men and women who came back from the Vietnam War and then went on and lived relatively normal lives and still would occasionally go bowling or have children or get married or sing karaoke, not just sit at home and think about their trauma.
Have their post-traumatic events. Right. That's all you needed to do. Like that's all. There needed to just be a couple of things that reminded him of his past. Like that's all we needed, because the way he acted, it just wasn't. It didn't line up with like where he came from.
I disagree. You know? I think he was actively working to suppress that. He was actively working to suppress it.
And it's hard to suppress those things. I mean, with character development, like you show the work that he puts into it, but you show how easy it is to slip back into the trauma. That's all you needed. It didn't even have to be a lot. Just an acknowledgement of that, you know? Because he just seems so divorced from it. That's my only issue.
And I
with
think
the movie.
that was testament to his work and growth in those 10 years since it had all occurred. I see your point where you would want that, but I think that it's possible to have a fully fleshed out and developed character without that conceit. I do. I really do.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to do that when you show so much of his past. You know, it's hard to do that. You know, like for him to just be like, "Oh, I guess that happened to me." You know,
No, I think it's
that's basically
remarkably
what it is.
human to be able to process, absorb, and move on from huge amounts of trauma. I really believe
Okay,
that is fundamental to a lot of people who just want normalcy and quiet so much that they are able to move on from and process vast amounts of trauma.
I mean, literally more stuff happened to him than Bruce Wayne. That caused all the stuff that happened to him.
So, all right. So let's talk about just as a brief tangent, because we're about to hit the hour mark here. But so I read Jackie Chan's his autobiography, right? So by all rights, you would say Jackie Chan seems to be a very happy, affable public persona, correct?
Yeah,
He had an amazingly like Shang-Chi quality traumatic childhood where his parents basically gave him to the Chinese acrobatic circus when he was 5, where he was beaten and trained every day of his life for a dozen hours a day until he was a teenager, and made to train and train and train. And when he got it wrong, he was mercilessly beaten. And yet, despite the fact that that was the entire sum of his childhood, he's still a regular, affable person.
Yeah, that's what you see versus like the quiet moments that they have alone. It's the same thing with Robin Williams. What we saw was this happy guy all the time. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't want dour Shang-Chi. I wanted to see Shang-Chi that
It doesn't have to
on.
be dour. It just needed to be one scene, one acknowledgement. Like that's all it needed to be. That's all I'm saying. Like, I'm not trying to take too much away from this movie because I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I felt that divide wasn't that cohesive.
Maybe we're hammering on too small a point.
On to Eternals.
Oh God, I know. Because here we are. We're at the 1 hour mark, so that means Eternals. Eternals debuted November 5th, 2021. It's directed by Chloe Zhao, who, of course, is the Oscar award-winning director behind Nomadland. And this movie clocked in at 2 hours and 36 minutes, making it the second longest Marvel movie ever made. And it really did not need to be. I'm not going to preface. I know it feels like the deep breath that comes just before you're about to talk about how disappointed you are. Like, but no, that's not true for me. I actually enjoyed the movie. I thought the movie was fine. I didn't think it was the greatest Marvel movie ever made, but I definitely think that it was a perfectly watchable and enjoyable movie.
What did you enjoy?
I enjoyed, I enjoyed the character of Cersei. I thought that Hema Chan played that role very, very well. I thought the effects and the visuals, I thought it looked really, really nice. And the way that it used that sort of, I can't think of what the technique is called, but where it's a Japanese art where you repair broken objects with gold. And that aesthetic was so heavily...
Alchemy?
No. Alchemy is creating gold. It's like if you shatter a bowl, you can put it back together using gold solder, and then you have these gold streaks and lines, and it's sort of like a perfection in imperfection kind of philosophy to repair. Be that as it may, that's the aesthetic behind their technology and their weaponry. And so I thought that was great. I thought that all of the parts in the movie were well acted. I thought everybody played their role. I actually thought, strangely enough, Selma Hayek was maybe the weakest of the group a little bit, next to maybe the dude who played Icarus, who was Richard Madden, who people remember from Game of Thrones. But I felt like Hema Chan really carried this thing, and I believed her character through the whole thing. I thought Angelina Jolie as the sort of tortured, messed up warrior was great. And we also get Kumail Nanjiani and Brian Tyree Henry and what's his name? Don Lee, who is Ma Dong-seok from Train to Busan. Like, these are some amazing multicultural actors that I would have never necessarily picked to be Marvel superheroes, and here they are doing the work and getting it done, and they look great. I mean, you're gonna tell me Paperboy is a superhero? And yet I believe it, and I like him, and his relationship with his husband and his child seems genuine. And the other thing I liked about it was, and again, spoilers if we didn't say so before, was that at the end where Kamal Nanjiani's Kingo decides to just simply not be involved. Like, I agree with him, but I don't agree with the way Icarus is going about things, and I refuse to fight you guys. So I'm simply going to let you work this out. And he just steps away from it. Like, that was a choice that so many people in so many instances make, and that superhero groups never make. There's never a conscientious observer saying that it seems to me that the thing that is going to happen is the natural order of things, but I respect how strongly you guys feel. I won't fight against you, but I won't fight with him. I'm just out. And if the world ends, it ends. And if you save the world, then you did the thing you meant to do, but I'm not getting involved. I'm literally a conscientious observer in this whole process. And that was a thing I absolutely was not expecting and would never expect in a movie that's building to a big climactic final battle, for one person on the team to just go, you know what? I'm out. And it felt like a very human choice. And I kind of enjoyed that. I thought that whoever Leah McHugh is, she's been in nothing. She's a 15-year-old girl, the one who played Sprite. Like, it's so hard to find a character to do old through the eyes of the young. Someone like Interview with a Vampire with
Kirsten
Dunst. Yeah. That you believe that that's an incredibly old person in a child's body. I really think that Leah McHugh sold that wisdom and age beyond her years from a character perspective. I do think that Kit Harington was a fun addition characteristically, but he isn't really given anything to do. And his whole thing with being the Black Knight is kind of meaningless through the whole thing. So that's a sort of conceit. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else I haven't mentioned. Of course, Lauren Ridloff as Makari, which is one of our first legitimately deaf actress playing a deaf superhero. That's good fun. And Barry Keoghan as basically the dissenter of the group. He's not an actor I'm super familiar with, except for like killing of a sacred deer. But man, he's got such a great face, and I felt his acting was some of the strongest in the whole movie. Harish Patel as Karun is delightful, and the little bits of comic levity that he provides the story are very apt and very welcome, because this movie is not funny in a sense. It has comedic beats and it has some comedic timing like any Marvel movie's going to, but it's not a funny movie per se. It's just a sci-fi movie. I think Bill Skarsgård as Crow, if that we even got his name during the movie, the head deviant, I think that was a total waste. That character, the whole deviant thing didn't work for me. And the way that they were used at the end were like, the bad guys are really us, and the deviants are kind of on the same side, and this one can kill us and absorb our powers. How does that work? Why does that work? Where is this from? None of that is explained. His character is absolutely just left to do things just to ultimately die. But it's like, oh, you're the special weird one. But how, why, when, where, or what the ramifications of that are basically zero.
I hated that.
Yeah, it's basically zero. They really didn't need to bring them back. They didn't need to bring the deviants back. All they needed to do was kill Selma Hayek. And then suddenly now we have a mystery. Who the hell is killing an Eternal? Who could even kill an Eternal? And then you find out at the end that it is Icarus, and that Icarus is going to complete the damn plan, whether you guys are with it or not. Basically, Icarus is the captain of a ship that has just mutinied. And he's like, fuck that. I'm going to quell this mutiny because we have a job to do. And I don't care if you decide you don't want to do it now. And I thought that would have been reason enough to have the movie move forward without the deviants suddenly showing up again. But I get that this is a superhero movie and you want to watch them use their superhero powers against monsters. And so monsters are back. I take it you didn't feel as strongly as I did. And now that I'm done absolutely dragging that out.
So here's the thing. This movie is impeccably casted. Like, I mean, this amount of diversity and just
quality.
Just by having Angelina Jolie. Angelina Jolie is just a titan of cinema. The way she knows how to work a camera, her looks and everything she does, she just stands so tall above like her cast in this. Like, you know, just given her experience of being in movies and just being such a movie star.
I felt that was
give that up.
No, and I agree. You know, it's funny. I totally, not to cut you off because I want you to make your point, but I totally agree that Angelina Jolie just looks different than everybody else in this.
Yes.
And I think that works well in the amount of like simultaneous fear and reverence that the other characters pay her throughout the movie. It's like she is viewed almost differently because arguably Gilgamesh would be the physically strongest on the team.
Yeah.
And Icarus may be the most Superman overall powerful, but everyone on the team is sort of like, there's your wild card over there. There is like, she is the god of war and do not fuck with her. And so I think that acting pedigree and ability translates into the way that the characters interact with her character on screen. I believe that worked.
Yes. That was one of the strong points of the movie, I think. I think they used the mad weary thing a little loosey goosey because I don't understand why any of the other characters wouldn't have some form of that at some point, you know? But besides the way the cast was, I felt like this cast was failed by the script. If this is going to be like a dysfunctional family / like kind of Greek god drama, like there really should have been some gut punching moments that these characters have had over all the years, the thousands of years, that really would put their dynamics at cost. Like there should have been costs and real. Like, for instance, there's a scene where Fasto says to Icarus, "I've been waiting to clip your wings." It's like, for what reason? You know, like what can you guys show us when you guys have had this animosity towards each other?
Some kind of jealousy. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That line comes a little bit out of nowhere.
That's what's so weird. Like, the stuff like that happens over and over in this thing. And I felt like they did a huge disservice to themselves by not letting the Kit Harington character kind of be the human eyes going through all of this stuff with Gemma, because it's just weird. I mean, without his presence there, you have these disaffected like non-plus gods when it comes down to, like, you know, when they're having these kind of conversations about Earth and humans. Like, even to the point where Kingo is basically talking, yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. All these humans should die. Like, to this person that's been following him for like decades and decades. And that character doesn't even have a reaction to what he says. You know, you would halfway think that he would have some sort of turn against Kingo to make him turn his way of thinking to where he finally comes back to help or something like that. Because like it's just weird, like how some of them feel. Like Jim is supposed to be in love with the Kit Harington character, but how much love could she have had for that character if they're just together at the beginning and she never goes or checks on him or does anything for him the rest of the movie? You know, this happens over and over again in the thing, and like the weirdest thing of all is that, like, this could have been a focal point for like how the characters change their way of thinking, because for thousands of years they've been fighting these deviants. Finally, one of them becomes a sentient, and he should have become sentient way earlier in the movie. Like he becomes sentient way too late in the movie for it to mean anything. In fact, when he says all the stuff he says it so fast.
It is blink and you'll miss it. Yeah.
Yeah, what's his revelation supposed to mean? So then the weirdest thing is that at the end, what this deviant has been looking for is finally these celestials or eternals are going after Icarus because he knows that Icarus is aligned with Aramesh and stuff.
Mhm.
And immediately the Eternals start hurting him. He's just trying to take our powers. It's like, it's like, what? It's like, doesn't it mean anything that he's trying to help you guys?
Rachel and I thought that was a little weird at the end that they had this whole like three-way battle when really the Eternals should just been like, you're trying to save Earth because you live on it. We're trying to save Earth because we live on it. Let's join up and stop this guy. Like that would have made a lot more sense. This guy is the only one out of all of us who's trying to make this celestial be born and to have the Earth explode. It's like the Tick. We're like, do you have the power to destroy the planet? I hope not. That's where I keep my stuff. And that should have been the common goal, because when we do finally get sentience out of Crow, which is the name of the leader of the deviants, he explains like, you were made by the Eternals. You were made by the Celestials. We were made by the Celestials. We were sent here with a purpose. And then you were sent here to basically do our job because we stopped doing it and started doing it too well even. And so we're all just tools of the same machine. We are exactly the same.
I have no idea why these eternal beings with all this vast knowledge wasn't able to get that in that moment.
Yeah.
And that just was so weird. And like, there's a bunch of times where it's just like, why do I care about these characters? Like, why? Like, all the stuff that they're willing to let happen to us.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even know what they're fighting for themselves most of the time. It's like, you know, like, I mean, it'd be interesting if, yeah, you have these imperfect gods, but then you need to lean into that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like they kind of do it here and there. Like when Druid, like that was one of the strongest scenes when Druid first goes against the Eternals, stops that war and takes those people with him. But I mean, what has he done all these years? He just has like a cult,
basically.
And, you know, he was able to just like leave the cult behind. I mean, doesn't it mean anything to you? Like, I mean, where did your choices lead you? It needed to lead you to a higher, different place. Like he should have been a warlord of a continent or country by the time it's in the future. That's where Druid should have been.
True, but I think he was trying to stay off everyone's radar as well. That he wanted to basically be left alone and to say like, and he has a little bit where he's like, I could have taken over the world and changed everything, but that's not the plan.
He should have done that. Like, that's the thing. Like, if you're going to tell a big story like this, he should have gotten to the place, you know, just kind of like how they showed that Kingo was this superstar for 100 years. Yeah, he became a dictator just like any of these other dictators. Like, you know, and then after a while they convinced him he'll leave it to one of his dignitaries or whatever.
See, but I don't think he's
like,
a dictator. It seemed like it was in line with his personality to just take a small cadre of people, create his own little utopia, and fuck the rest of the world.
I'm just saying, like, if you spend a century doing something, it's gonna grow into something that might not be recognizable from the Get Out. So all of those things needed to happen in the story. You know, like, I mean, eventually Fastos was involved with like the nuclear bomb. Like that's exactly what it was. It started from him saying, "Oh, we can do the steam engine," to where he did something that wound up destroying a huge subsection of people.
Well, and I think that's where you mentioned earlier that they needed to be present at more pivotal moments in human history. I think that was one of those moments where they really got that right, with him being there, realizing what he's done.
Well, yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what needed to happen with a lot of the other Eternals.
Yeah, it's interesting. Brian Tyree Henry ends up being one of the most fully fleshed out characters in the whole movie. Yeah. He really, really is.
Yeah, so like that's the other problem that I have is that we have an Eternal here. We know what he wants and what he cares about. Half of the Eternals, you don't get that sense. You don't know what Makari wants. She literally sat in a ship and read stuff for 500 years.
All right. Now,
It's like,
so I'm going to disagree with you a little bit there for two reasons. One semantic and the other less so. But you got 10 fucking Eternals. There's only so much time. And I don't want a 3-hour goddamn movie.
Oh, my God.
You got 10 Eternals. We cannot have fully integrated backstories and futures and wants and desires for all 10 of them. So for Makari, I didn't have a problem with that. She loved human history. She loved the history and the knowledge, the collective knowledge of mankind. That's why she collected things. That's why she read books. That's good enough for me.
Okay, but here's the thing. Here's how you don't change any of that. Because of all the knowledge she grew, it changed her character into being a more knowledgeable character. You don't see that. She's just ever the speedster that she ever was. You don't see a change with the character, and that's the problem. Like when you tell a story, characters need to go through a fundamental change. I don't need every single character to have an arc. Oh my God.
I don't need every character to have a drastic arc. I don't need every single one.
Oh, Lord.
Hint at some shit. This is 10 fucking superheroes.
Well, maybe the main character should. Maybe the main character should. Gemma didn't have any change at all. She barely knew what she wanted to do the whole time. And then let me get to Sprite. How the hell did we know the Sprite loved Icarus? They didn't show anything like that during the whole half. So it's when she changes and betrays the whole team, it's just like it's out of nowhere.
I don't feel like it was out of nowhere.
When did she ever show any affection for Icarus in any way, shape, or form?
They acknowledge it's exposition-y, granted, but when Kingo and Sprite are talking, he says, I know you've done your best to hide it, but clearly this is the case. And I think it's supposed to be subtle. I don't know everybody you're attracted to. You know what I mean? I don't know everybody everyone's attracted to. People can have secrets. They can have personal thoughts and personal feelings that they don't have to express. And when another character that knows that character better than we do says, hey, in all the time I've known you, I've noticed this. And the Peter Pan analogy was perfect. Then I buy it. Then I accept that that's the case. And I mean,
Tommy,
there's only so much time.
Tommy, how are you going to have, listen, bro, how are you going to have this subtle love thing that you have for a character and then take a big swing where she fucks everybody over at the end? Come on, man. There's not a balance to that, bro.
Well, she just fucked Cersei over because
she fucked everybody over.
By fucking Cersei
she's
over.
Going...
No, she goes
by joining
Icarus.
By joining Icarus, she's fucking everybody over,
but
bro.
The thing is, Icarus isn't wrong. Icarus isn't freaking wrong. He is given a purpose, and all of the stuff that they've learned about being artificial and all of their memories are of their homeworld are fake. Like all of that stuff doesn't change the fact where he's like, this planet is food for something much, much bigger than itself. And not to be weird about it, but like, I'm not a vegetarian. So I do believe that some things are food and other things are not food. And I eat creatures that I determine to be food. And on a cosmic scale where they're explaining that like the food that is this planet will create billions of times more life than what is here. And their argument, no, this one is special. Like they both have validity, but I don't see her simultaneously, of course, going with Icarus because she cares about him, but also seeing the validity of the mission, which Kango also, acknowledges. The mission is valid.
Yeah, he wasn't right for murdering one of his fellow Eternals.
Well, no, he wasn't going to do that. He's like, I'll die or live depending on what you guys do, but I'm not murdering anyone. That was reasonable.
But he did murder. I forgot the character's name. Salma Hayek's character.
No, Kango didn't do that. Icarus.
No, I'm talking about Icarus.
Oh no, Icarus was prepared to kill all of them.
Well, that's who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Icarus, not Kingo. I was talking about that. That Icarus was like and basically an asshole for what he was doing. He wound up killing Salma Hayek's character. Yeah. That's what I was talking about this whole time.
Oh, okay. But that's because he knew that Selma Hayek's character was having second thoughts about the mission. She was having second thoughts about the mission. And so you can't have second thoughts about the mission. The mission goes forward. And if you live, you're going to tell everybody else what you know, and they're going to work to stop it. So instead, I'll kill you. That sends them hunting after all the deviants, which, again, the fact that there are any even around after they hit extinct, all of that's so messy. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But I want to watch them kill monsters, so it's okay.
Yeah, look, when it comes down to it, the Celestials need to find another way of doing this. I mean, they could have easily done this with the Infinity Stones or whatever. So if that's a one way of doing it, there's other ways of doing it. That doesn't mean the complete and total annihilation of like billions of creatures.
Well, sure. I mean, I can get fat eating peanut butter the same as I can get fat eating hamburgers. I prefer hamburgers. What are you going to do? That costs a cow. I mean, the Celestials could find other ways. And this whole celestial seed, and then you have to have X amount of biological life, and that allows all of that is written for the movie. None of that is the comic. And I'm glad that they actually, at the end of this movie, address it the way the comic book is, which is, okay, you deem the life on this planet that valuable. We're going to return and we're going to judge them. And if we judge them wanting, we're just going to wipe them out just as though they had been wiped out by the birth of that celestial. That is what the Celestials do. They breed life around the universe. They try to foster it to grow in a way that they think is productive. And then they leave you alone for a little while. Then they come back and they see, if left to your own devices, if you've grown into a civilization that they value, or if you haven't. And if you haven't, they just eradicate you. You're a weed in their garden and you get blown away. And so the Celestials do not care in the slightest about human life, Midgardian life, in the same way that most, Asgardians don't care about human life. That's what made Thor weird and special. Do you understand? They're meaningless. We live for tens of thousands of years. They're going to live for 70, 100 years. What are you getting so wrapped up in that for? And I think that was an easy opinion for some of the Eternals to have too. I mean, I understand some of the emotional disconnect between how, Kingo, how Kingo treats Karun and stuff. But as much as he likes Karun, he's only known him for about 55 out of 7,000 years. That's like the theory where Thor, the entire Avengers, Marvel MCU, is the worst weekend in Thor's life. This is the worst weekend in their lives.
That being said, though, I could see where that character would say something like that, him being that old type of character. But my thing is Karun. Why does Karun not have an opinion about this colossal dismissal of his reality and his life and his life on Earth?
Karun is a man in a room full of gods. There's only so confrontational he would dare be. And Karun might also understand, it's been explained to him too, that the sequence of events that is about to happen is thousands of years in the making and is part of a larger plan for the universe. There might be something.
But then everything is meaningless. What's the whole point of shooting a documentary?
Yeah, all right.
Come on.
There is some disconnect between his behavior and the amount of panic he should be exhibiting in the face of this. But
yeah, it's just not written well. That's the thing. What do you feel when you watch the Eternals? Because what you should feel is a complete emotional gut punch. A complete emotional gut punch to all of this stuff. This movie should hit harder than it does. It should
hit harder than it does. I'll give you that.
That's my thing. You're telling this grand epic thing, and it's just a lot of la-di-da. You only feel a little bit of something with Phastos. That's the only character you really feel anything.
I don't know. I don't agree with that. I think that because the cast and the characters in this movie are so strong, I think that the individual performances give you enough moments in the film to make the film worth watching. I think the film is worth a watch. I don't think it's the best thing ever made. I don't think it's the worst thing ever made, but I think it's definitely worth a watch, if for nothing else than the individualized performances in it, even if the overarching story has some holes in it. And that if you also try to connect it too deeply into the overall Marvel lore, that shit breaks down there too. If you want to be super pedantic about this movie, it doesn't hold up at all. But I think the performances in it justify the existence of the film. And overall, like I said, when I said before,
some of them,
it was fine. It was fine. There were things I enjoyed in it. There were things where the story broke down. I think that the character moments have more emotional resonance than you're giving it credit for, though. I will say that.
Well, I think this movie is a casualty of the pandemic. Because like I think there's just no way Feige would have like let this movie go, because I feel like when they when they stopped shooting Eternals, and would have been the moment they would have had reshoots was right at the beginning of the pandemic. So then this movie was supposed to come out that year, and that's usually when they would have whatever reshoots they would have. Like, so all that time stretched out, and with this amount of actors, there's no way you could be able to get them all back together again. So they just had to release it as is. Like, this isn't the way Feige would do a movie. But
you know what, though? I think that's fine. Because it's one of those things I could imagine sitting in that room. Is it terrible? Fuck, no, it's not terrible. It's fine. Well, what about this? Yeah, no, those things are a little bit off. But in general, it's pretty good. Well, do we, risk COVID and spend tens of millions of dollars doing reshoots, or do we release the movie? Well, it's probably a huge portion of our audience is going to see it on streaming anyway. And the cast of characters means that it might do okay overseas, although the representation of gay marriage has certainly hurt it in places like, Russia and China and things like that. But I think that at the end of the day, you go, it's fine. And when you have some 25 fucking movies to choose from, some of them are going to be fine. I'm just glad it's not bad. I'm glad it's not the Inhumans, because this could have become the fucking Inhumans real fast, and it didn't. And I think that that's a testament to learning from that mistake. Is it Guardians of the Galaxy? Not hardly. That was an ensemble piece about characters that we had never met before, largely, that worked incredibly well. Is this that? Not even close. But it's fine. And if you're a Marvel completist, you will definitely see it. And if you aren't, then maybe this is one of the ones you skip. I thought it was fine. I mean, I'm sorry that's, it's a B-. But it's still a B. It's, if I were a chef and this was the plate I made, is it the best plate of food I ever made in my life? No. But is it perfectly palatable? Yes. Serve it up, get it out the door, and let's move on to the next one. It was fine. There's your resounding review. Marvel's Eternals. It's fine. I'm sorry it's not amazing, but it's fine.
I mean, I wanted it to be amazing. A movie like this should have been amazing. With this cast, the script needed to really serve these type of characters. I mean, it's just like having the Greek gods and having them be completely ineffectual, and not having the rage of Zeus and all this sort of things that you would need for characters like this. Like, a character should have been done a lot of harm from one of the other characters that they really should have had to deal with. Like, they have them get together at these like whack ass dinners trying to repeat the same sort of energy that the Avengers had, And it's just like, no, man, there needs to be some family issues and some real dysfunctional stuff, Like, for instance, like there was always a little peppering and stuff like that. Like when we find out that Druid and Makari had this kind of like secret relationship, like when the other Eternals scooped that out, that made them perk up and be alive in a way that they wouldn't about normal human stuff, because it's their stuff, that needed to be a thorough line throughout the movie.
Yeah, I mean, look, we could sit here and play the rewrite game forever on it, but I think that if you are introducing characters that you fully intend to make part of a larger universe, that there's no harm in hinting at some things and then giving it time to breathe. I will bring it all the way back around to Awkwafina walking through fucking Wong's portal at the end of Shang-Chi. You can just hint at some shit and tell me the rest later. I'm gonna fucking watch. I don't care what you make. I'm totally in the bag for all this Marvel shit. And I'll find out later on what Wong wants with Awkwafina. And I'll find out later on, Makari and Druig's, past or romances or whatever. Or maybe there's nothing. I have no idea. What I do know is they're going to explore this stuff in one way or another. And I'm, God willing, I live long enough to see it. I'm going to see it. You're going to fucking watch it too. I don't care what you say. It doesn't matter how you feel about this movie. Marvel got your $16, so fuck you.
Point taken.
That is, you know what? On that summation of the entire film industry, I got your $16. Fuck you.
Beautiful.
Thank you. But if people have nicer things to say to you than that, where would they find you and say those things, Arthur?
On that really caught me off guard. You could go to www.arthurromeo.live. You could go to my Instagram, draw really awesome wow with underscores between those words. You can also go to at Arthur Romeo on Instagram. And check out my YouTube, check out my TikTok for Draw Really Awesome Wow as well. What about you, good sir?
Well, you can find me on Instagram at thomas.olton. That's where I predominantly am. Also, you can find our Instagram at tails_to_admonish. There's not nearly enough fucking content on there because I'm so busy and I'm going to get it done, and I swear. So just follow it, and eventually I'll post something, or I won't because I don't fucking owe you anything. But do follow me if you'd like the chance at least to see something, because that's the best I'm offering at this point, and that's the best I got. Because every week I give you the best I got, Arthur, on I love the Dio ending. I love when you do the Dio ending. Very sing-songy today. All right, folks, be good.
Bye.